there. It's 12 noon. It's Monday, August 17th, 2026. This is DeProgram with Ted, Rall and Jamarl Thomas. All right, we're trying something new here. We've kind of, it's not a radical change, but we're switching up the format a little bit. So joining us in a few minutes, if the gods of communications are kind to us, we shall have investigative journalist Esteban Carrillo joining us to talk about Trump's latest threat. He's always got a threat, that one, to this time bomb Oman. So WTF? But it's also the Q&A show here on DeProgram, which means that for the full hour, or if somehow Robbie and Jamarl and I get carried away, even longer, but we promise you an hour, we will answer any and all of your questions and comments. So go ahead, if you're watching live on YouTube or Rumble, and it's 12 noon or anywhere between 12 noon and 1 p.m. Eastern, go ahead and put your questions, comments, etc. into the chat. Producer Robbie West, that's him right there. He is going to put them up, and we will then answer them. Questions can be for all three of us, any two of us, or just for one of us. Priorities go, as usual, to the super chats and the Rumble rants. Those are the ones that pay money because, frankly, we need more money. Don't forget to become a subscriber to the show. I'm putting up the levels here on YouTube. It's so small, so little, and cute. Let me see what I can do here. I'm trying everything to make it bigger. I guess that's about as big as it's going to get. Anyway, tier 1, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, 5, 10, and $20. Consider doing the 20 if you can afford it. If you can, you'll get a bunch of stuff, including once a month hangout with us. For tier 2, you get to be in the closing credits, and for tier 1, 2, and 3, you get to access member-only shows and Q&As. Shows like this will become basically gated off in the near future. So, all right. Yeah, the Q&A show is going to be only.
Okay, we have to talk about that.
All right. Well, we'll talk about
Friday.
it.
That's We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we're still figuring it out here. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. Do we have any comments? I'll first see if we have any ads. But Robbie, do we have any comments that we need to get
first,
to?
Can we start with just the basic premise?
Yeah.
Donald Trump is pissed off. Let me close this. Donald Trump is pissed off that Oman and Iran is working out a deal. And if you remember, for the longest time, Trump kept saying, oh, we're in negotiations with Iran. We're in negotiations with Iran. And what he was talking about was effectively the negotiations between Oman and Iran in order to create a regulatory mechanism around the Strait of Hormuz. Just to be very clear, Iran doing this, just like with the JCPOA, is staying with the document. Because in the document, it was within 60 days, basically allowed the Strait of Hormuz to be open. Okay, well, the way Iran is doing that by creating a regulatory mechanism with Oman. Trump now hates that and is now pissed off that Oman is actually making that deal with Iran to create the regulatory mechanism and is now threatening to bomb Oman. That's astonishing.
And let's not forget the relationship that the United States has long had with Oman, which has been very friendly, cordial relations, to say the very least.
Yes.
Oman's a U.S. ally, and they've always sort of, while still also working to maintain good relations with other countries in the Middle East, like Iran. But, they're kind of like, they're trying to be like the wise above the fray country. It's kind of like you don't threaten to bomb the shit out of the wise above the fray country. It's not cool. And this kind of follows up previous threats to, he claims that he still over the weekend, that the U.S. controls the Strait of Hormuz. If that were true, things would be very different, and oil prices would be very different. And he said that he wanted to turn the Strait of Hormuz into a U.S. territory. Even by 19th century standards, there's just literally no legal or military mechanism to do that.
Right.
That's not going to happen. And that would, by the way, bring him into conflict with Oman if he was going to try to do that. It would be a level of imperialism that's just impossible. We have to obviously we're looking at Nixon's madman theory writ large. I mean, this
Play out.
guy, we don't know if he is crazy, but we know that he's talking crazy. We just don't know if it reflects his actual state of mind. And I guess I'm not sure if it really matters either way, whether it does or it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, look, the reality of it is, if Donald Trump decided to take Greenland after Venezuela, then we'd be looking at a second win, quote unquote, for Donald Trump at this point. Meaning Greenland had no military response, right? What were they going to do? Fight the U.S. military? This is different, though. I mean, you can make an argument
they had the runways in Nuuk all ready to be blown up, right? I mean,
right.
the Danes were taking it as seriously as they know how.
Well, because the fact of the matter is, what Trump is showing is, if you can do something and there's no consequences for it, then were you really crazy for doing it? The issue with Iran is there are consequences for it. He couldn't do it. But imagine for the moment that he did do it. Let's say he did take over Iran, whatever that means, right? For one, would the United States population be this pissed off? And B, would he be crazy for doing it if it worked? Like, I guess my theory on Trump is, from his point of view, if I can do it and nobody can do anything about it, then how is it wrong for me to do? And that doesn't make him crazy or hyper sane.
Well, I mean, that is a good question. This seems like a great place to bring in our guest. Joining us is investigative journalist and political analyst Esteban Carrillo. Great to have you back. Thank you for rejoining DeProgram with Ted, Rall and Jamarl Thomas.
Hey, Jamarl. Hey, Ted. It's so good to see you guys, and thank you for having me.
Great to see you. So, all right, well, you know about this latest thing. Before you came on, we were talking about how outlandish it is to be threatening to bomb a U.S. ally and a country with the status of Oman in the Middle East. And of course, we were trying to suss out what Americans have been trying to figure out, and the rest of the world has been trying to figure out for at least the last 10 years. Is Donald Trump crazy, or is he crazy as a fox? Are we at a point where nothing that the president of the United States says really matters anymore? I mean, does this still matter? I mean, it's insane.
It's quite insane. I think, we are far beyond the post-truth era, which I think would be like a good description for the first Trump administration. Right now, we really are, as the Iranian foreign minister said a few months ago, right? The law of the jungle. There's no international conventions that matter. There's absolutely no concern for international or even national laws. The threat against Oman, this is a repeated threat, because he threatened to bomb them a couple of months ago, and now he's doing it again. It's a show of impotence. That I think it's pretty clear. Donald Trump, it's absolutely caught in a trap of his own of his own.
He painted himself into a corner. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean to say. This war has no easy way out. This was a war that, he's declared victory over 40 times by this point, right? It's
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, who's counting?
Exactly. And so does it matter what he says? Up to a point, right? Because the U.S. is obviously very willing to use its military power to subjugate peoples across the world, right? Way far beyond Iran. Look at what they're doing in Cuba. Look at the way that they are stealing Venezuela's resources out in the open, boasting about it. So when he threatens to bomb Oman, would he do it? I doubt. Honestly, I think it would be a completely strategic mistake to do it. I think this is just more posturing. This is just, again, him trying to undo so much humiliation he has faced, from hiding in the catering truck to escape an alleged Iranian threat, to the fact that what I just said, right? Declaring victory dozens of times, nobody buying it anymore. So this is just tough guy posturing. It will not serve anybody's interest to bomb Oman. It's just more, again, putting on display that the United States is not here for diplomacy, is not here to respect any laws. It's just, law of the jungle, 100%.
What's wild about this is that Iran apparently is making more threats. From my understanding, they bombed a hotel that apparently had American troops in it in Erbil, Iraq, and they've been continuing those attacks. They've warned all of the Gulf states, if we are attacked, we will lose our minds. And it seemed like up to this point that it's withheld the U.S.'s hand, meaning it's by definition deterrence, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that deterrence will last? Or do you think that this will once again escalate into kinetic hostilities between the two?
I think it's inevitable that we're going to see escalation. I mean, in particular, the U.S. side has shown that they have no interest to even meet Iran's demands, right? Like the way that they violated the Islamabad MOU and now let it expire, essentially, um, shows that the United States wants just complete surrender, right? Like that's what they are seeking. That's essentially the order that has been given to
But
their
you
war.
can't get that if you can't win.
Right, right.
I mean,
Well, obviously they've already won, Ted, 60 sometimes.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, that's where reality kind of, or I guess that's where the narrative face plants with reality, right? Like you can make as many statements as you want. You can make as many threats as you want. The reality on the battlefield is really not going to change all that much. And Iran, if anything, it just continues to position themselves to go on the offensive, right? I think today was an official told Reuters that, right, like we are ready to go on the offensive. We're no longer taking a defensive position because obviously, like we were ready to try diplomacy with these people so many times, and they every time they stab us in the back, from Donald Trump exiting the JCPOA in 2018 to the violation of the MOU just a couple of months ago. It's obvious that there's really no room for diplomacy when the United States and especially Israel is involved. So the Iranians, I feel like it's pretty clear, and this is something a lot of people have been saying, a lot of analysts have been saying. The Iranians feel that time is on their side, and I think every day that passes, especially every outburst from the White House, shows that they may be right. They may be completely correct. And one more thing, actually, I just want to mention very quickly. It appears that the Iranians have also given the U.S. a deadline to lift the naval blockade, essentially telling them, if you don't lift it by this deadline, then we are going to go on the offensive. And we're going to especially try to sink your ships, which I think it's something that I don't know how hard the Iranians have been trying to actually hit the ships. I think they may be saving it still, that capability, because so far it's been, a lot of radars, a lot of bases, essentially depopulating U.S. bases, like you guys said, right? The attacks in Erbil against U.S. troops, making it an uninhabitable place for U.S. troops, right? And this is not just because it's not just Iranian intelligence, right? It's the people in the ground in these places who are giving the info to the IRGC and telling them, hey, there's some U.S. troops in this hotel, and a couple of hours later, a drone just happens to hit it.
It's I mean, so I'm interested in the timing factor. Up until now, I've totally, agreed with the narrative that time is on the Iranian side for a variety of reasons. I mean, basically, they're going to run out the clock. They're going to wait for the oil markets to respond the way that one might have expected them to respond earlier. Yeah, I mean, not that oil prices haven't gone up a lot; they have, but even more. And with midterm elections are coming, and Trump is probably going to get a drubbing. Republicans are going to probably suffer there. But okay, I guess the question is: there a danger from an Iranian point of view of overshooting, not on the economic front, but for example, okay, these midterm elections are coming up in 7 weeks. So in 7 weeks, those are over. But the war will almost certainly, we will all three be here talking about this war. And so then at that point, isn't in a way like the thing that Trump was afraid of over? And now he's a lame duck with 2 years left to his term. And, it is what it is with Congress, and there's not as much pressure on him.
I see a lot of the discussion around the midterms, taking it for granted that Donald Trump is going to lose, and I think you should, like the people, in particular, should take into consideration his own threats against the elections, right? That he wants to make it under federal supervision. The funding that he keeps giving ICE, right? Like ICE essentially now functioning as Trump's own secret police. There's many things hanging in the balance here, and I wouldn't put all of my considerations into the elections themselves, right? Because I think we have, especially in the past few years, we have seen just how fragile, quote unquote, democratic systems can be, and I don't think the U.S. is above that. I think, if anything, the U.S. is about to experience something that, especially in Latin America, we're very familiar with, right? Which is manipulation. We'll see what happens. Regardless, to your question, Ted, I mean, um, it is. I think there is that possibility that Iran might be overshooting their chances, like waiting too long, right, to take action.
Right.
And because at the same time they are facing a naval blockade, they have faced the destruction of their infrastructure. They are also, sanctioned. Like who was it? Scott Bessent last week? He came out and said we're going to put sanctions on Iran like never before in history. And we're going to do it in conjunction with the naval blockade. I mean, these people are not going to give up. And I don't think, even if these elections go the way that everybody is predicting that they will go and the Republicans lose, I still don't think that the threat is going to subside. I think the threat is going to stay around, especially because you have to consider that Israel has not been a part of this war for the past, what is it now, like 3 months? They've been essentially sitting in the sidelines, and they've been very clear. And I mean, the government and the opposition have been very clear that the war is not going to be over. They keep talking about war with Turkey. They keep talking about war with Pakistan. I mean, these people are already talking about the next war after defeating Iran, right? So this is it's a very slippery slope where we all are, and I don't see a way out besides just yet another confrontation between the U.S. and Iran. But also, you have to take into account munition shortage, the borderline mutiny aboard the U.S. aircraft carriers, and all of these people, what they've been trying to do, the sailors trying to jump overboard, the lack of defenses, essentially, the dwindling defenses, the lack of radars now. In West Asia, there's really very little functioning U.S. radars left, early alarm systems. So what Iran has achieved in the past few months is to push the U.S. closer to Israel, right? Like physically, their assets just move them all the way to Jordan or even inside Israel. So when the next confrontation comes, I think you're going to see Israel take a leading role and Iran inflict as much punishment as possible. And that, I don't know when is, it could happen today. It could happen in 2 months. It could wait until after the elections. And also, one last thing, don't forget that the US elections are just a week apart from Israeli elections. So this is just massive developments that are still, everything's up in the air. But what I don't think is up in the air is the reality that we're going to see a restart to this war, and probably in a much more brutal fashion that we've seen so far.
Yeah, agreed. 1,000% agreed. One of the other stories that I've been fascinated by was Ansar Allah and the can of whip ass they've been releasing on Saudi Arabia, especially on Saudi Arabia's oil fields. What's wild to me about this is a story came out today that, well, I didn't need to, I think I already knew this, but I think it was common sense for anybody paying attention, that Iran had sent representatives, like military commanders, military people, engineers, these type of things, in order to, let's say, maximize the impact of Ansar Allah on Saudi Arabia without Iran's fingerprints being on it. Basically, Ansar Allah taking the role of Israel in this case in pursuing a war against Saudi Arabia in the Red Sea. This is wild to me, right? Do you think the Mecca Pact in any way is going to stop Ansar Allah from the attacks that it's been leveling on Saudi Arabia? I mean, when the Turkish Turkish minister was asked about it, he basically made the point of saying, this is a NATO-style agreement. Okay, well, Saudi Arabia is getting smashed. Do you think the Mecca Pact members are going to get involved?
No, I don't. I mean, I see it as very, very unlikely. First of all, the Mecca agreement has as a framework the previous Saudi-Pakistani agreement, which internally, in the terms of this agreement, there's many clauses that actually seek to stop military action rather than justify it. You know what I mean? So this is very much like a smokescreen, right? Like, we joined together, the Muslim NATO, the Mecca Agreement, et cetera, et cetera. It's more, I think, we should look at it as the Sunni nations of West Asia coming together to say, hey, in a post-US world, we can create our own security frameworks and agreements. But then the problem lies in that you sign this agreement, and 2 days later, the ink's not even dry, and Yemen comes and hits Saudi Arabia, one of the members, and there's no response, and there hasn't been a response, and I highly doubt there will be a response, because you have to also consider, especially Pakistan, right? Pakistan has a significant Shiite population. That when the U.S. and Israel killed Khamenei, they rose up in I forget the name of the region, but they took to the streets, right? They took to the streets, and actually the Pakistani government had to come out to reduce tension. So all of a sudden, to have Pakistan attack a member of the Axis of Resistance that has been, Yemen, the only country that opened a military front to try to stop the genocide in Gaza. Nobody else in the world can can claim that. Yemen can. So,
Yep.
the optics just aren't there for your own population. Same in Turkey. Saudi Arabia, a bit more complicated when you talk about populations. But so I don't think so. Right? And at the same time, there hasn't been a solution for Yemen. There wasn't a solution for Yemen in 2015 when MBS launched his war. There wasn't a solution in 2024 when Joe Biden launched Operation Prosperity Guardian to reopen the Red Sea. And then, a year later, Donald Trump had to declare a unilateral ceasefire and leave the Red Sea. There wasn't a solution with Operation Aspides, which was the EU naval mission, the same. I mean, if you look at the comments from the EU officers who served in the Red Sea during this time, they were terrified. They were traumatized by confronting Yemen. And what has empire not already done to Yemen? I mean, Yemen's been through the ringer multiple times. What else do you have to hit them with that will put a stop to their operations? There's nothing. There's really nothing. So this Mecca agreement, I mean, it's a nice thing to talk about. It's a nice soundbite. It's a nice headline, something to frame, put on the wall. But then to actually utilize it, I don't see it.
Esteban, let's talk a little bit about Hamas. So there's been reports that Hamas agreed to disarm. Why they would agree to disarm is beyond me. I mean, you know that you can't trust the Israelis to maintain their side of the agreement. And why would they agree to disarm before a single IDF troop has withdrawn? I don't know. Do you believe that this is this report that Hamas has genuinely agreed to do that? And at the same time, Israel's completely ignoring this agreement too, right? I mean, is this just another part of Donald Trump's fevered imagination?
I think, well, first of all, we have to understand just what the Palestinian people have been through over the past 3 years, right? Like, I think Hamas, from October 7, the first few days after October 7, it was Hamas that came out and offered to release all of the civilian captives, and it was Israel that refused. It was Hamas that called for an international investigation into the events of October 7 and accepted to go to The Hague, to send their officials to The Hague to testify to what happened that day, and it was Israel that refused. It's been Hamas that's been asking for all of these things since then. It was Hamas that quit, essentially, right? That all of the Hamas officials, they resigned a few weeks ago in order to allow the so-called technocrats that are backed by the U.S. Board of Peace to enter Gaza. And it's Israel that is refusing. So I think what Hamas, the statement they put out today, is yet again another instance of this, of the Palestinian people being the ones saying, we are willing to play ball. We're willing to play ball. I mean, you guys have been genociding us for the past 3 years. Our population has been through a hell that I don't think any of us can understand or even begin to describe, to be honest. Yeah. So it makes sense, right? It goes along the decisions that they have been making for the past 3 years. And again, to put on display that all of the denials and the refusals come from the Israeli side. They don't come from the Palestinian side. So why agree to disarm? Because I don't think even now we can really talk about the Palestinian resistance as being, what they were 3 years ago. Now this is a completely different situation. And what good are the arms going to be anyway, right? When the other side just has drones and warplanes to continue bombing tent camps and hospitals, etc. So again, I think this is a lot more of a political decision. I think it's just for the historical permanence, so that we can later on always be able to point and be like, hey, like these terrorists, according to the West, all of the time they were the ones that accepted. They were the ones that called for these things to happen, and it was the other side, the civilization side, right, that said no and continued to bomb.
Esteban, what time is it? We don't want to keep you too long.
25 after.
25 after.
One more?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I have any more questions on this. If you do.
I think we'll let Esteban go, and thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate you. Please come back soon.
Of course. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Jamarl. And I'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks,
You have
Esteban.
a good one, Esteban.
Take care.
Thanks, man.
Bye. So, yeah, he's always great. Looking forward to having him back. Okay, so let's get to the Q&A. Robbie, do we have any questions?
We do. I have been freedoms here. So Efuso for $1 wants to know: would you have sex with your clone? Go fuck yourself, literally, for $1. So JT, you're first, since you're the sci-fi fan.
My clone?
Your clone.
Who's on top? My ass is exit only. Who's on top? The answer is no. I mean, wait, is it a female version of me, or is it a man? Like,
no, it's a clone.
No, it's a clone. It's you.
I know, but a clone could be a female version.
Not really.
No, a clone is you.
A clone cannot be a female version of you.
Why not?
A clone is your genetic equivalent.
Yes, but that genetic equivalent could be a man or female.
No,
I mean, what's the difference? You're just flipping the chromosome.
Wait,
that's not a
XY.
clone.
Well, flipping that chromosome means that it's not genetically identical.
Okay.
Right.
If it was a female clone, yes, I would fuck myself. If it was a male clone, no. I'm not attracted to men.
Yeah, I guess that's my version too. I mean, I kind of almost had that opportunity with a cousin who she's a year younger than me. She looks a lot like me. She was unlike me though. She was really pretty. But it's weird. I didn't do anything about it. I'm glad I didn't. God, talk about complexity.
By the way, this was like Loki. I don't know if you've ever watched Loki on the Marvel thing, where he found a female version of himself that he fell in love with, and it's like, so you're basically fucking yourself. Like,
yeah,
you're so in
basically.
love with that's what you ended up with. Yeah.
I had a good friend who hooked me up with his sister, and basically, I mean, it's a funny story. We were roommates, right? And so we were poor. We shared a 1-bedroom, and I was in the living room, and my roommate was he had the bedroom. And I mean, it sounds like he had the better deal, but the truth is the bathroom was in his room. So every time I needed to go to the bathroom, I had to go through his bedroom. So nobody had privacy, right? Anyway, his sister was coming to visit, and I knew that she was coming and stuff. And I was like, oh, what are you going to do? Oh, he's like, I have two futons. I'm going to pull one off and put the other one on the floor, and she can have the top and I'll have the side. And as the day got closer, he goes, honestly, Ted, I don't feel like moving the futon. It's so heavy. And I'm like, why? What are you telling me for? And he goes, listen, it would just be easier for me if you were just to sleep with my sister. And I'm like, what? Exactly. I was like, I mean, I was hoary. I think we've established that on this show. And I was like, all right, I'll sleep with your sister.
To agree to that.
Well, of course, obviously. And I said, well, have you talked to her about it? And he said, oh yeah, she's totally fine with it. I go, this was pre-internet. I'm like, she hasn't seen pictures of me or anything like that. And he's like, nah, it'll be fine. He goes, do you need to see a picture of her? I'm like, nah, it'll be fine. So she shows up. And she's like, show me where I'll be sleeping. Oh, there it is. Great. And so we went out for drinks, and she's like, let's go home and shag. And she was,
what?
She was English. And the thing that was weird, though,
spitting some serious game to
the reason that I bring up this story is that it's pertinent because because she was his sister, and she looked a lot like him. So here's my good friend and roommate, but in female form, who I'm having sex with. And that was weird.
That is weird. That is a little strange. Yeah. I only had one night. Well, it wasn't really one night stand because her and I ended up in a relationship, but we hooked up on the first night. Mm-hmm. But that was more intense. That was like, in fact, what's wild about it, we went out to a party. We did all this stuff. This was our first time meeting a person. And when we were at the hotel room, I get a call from her friend. Her friend did not know that we were together when we came to her party. So she's calling me at like 2 a.m. and it's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm not doing anything. Now, mind you, the woman I'm with was living, that was going to be living with us right here beside me. Hey, what are you doing? No, I'm not doing anything. Oh, the party was great. Yeah, we had a fun time at the party. So, would you like some company? And I'm like,
and you're like, sure.
Now, for me, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is a booty call. She's calling for a booty call. She's calling for a booty call. But at this point, I already have somebody who's sitting there with me. It was wild. When she found out, it was like, oh, you two are together. My bad. I didn't necessarily know that. Mind you, her boyfriend is at her apartment. Yeah, this is a lot of shady stuff going on. I think it was. But no, I was sitting in there watching The Matrix. And the woman is in the room. And I'm wowing about the news. She's like, oh, this is so cool. And blah, blah, blah. And this is the philosophy behind it and all this other stuff. And she's boring a hole in me like, fuck are you doing? It's time for a man to do work. You're telling me about this stupid movie. Yeah.
Get to it. Quit fucking around.
It's like, what are you doing? I don't care about this movie. That's not what I'm looking at you for.
At risk of being called hateful again, like what happened on the last Q&A, I would say that in sticking with my consistency, I would not have sex with a clone of myself, neither a male or female form, because the female clone would basically be incest, to be my sister. And we've already established.
Well, she'd be a clone. She wouldn't be a sister. She wouldn't be a sibling. I mean, I'm being very lawyerly here, but
the genetic clone is the same, right? Wait, a twin is a clone.
A twin is basically a clone. Yeah, my understanding is that they have the same fingerprints.
So you could have a female clone also. Like you can have a man and a woman, the twins that are, or can you?
No, they have different fingerprints and stuff. But
I guess you're correct.
Genetically, though, they're basically like 98%, 99% the same.
Right.
So.
Well, it would probably be 99.99 something percent.
Because 98% is like you could be like a banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You and this banana are genetically related.
Right.
Yeah. But again, though, at risk of being called hateful, I would respectfully decline.
Not fucking yourself.
I appreciate that.
I don't think you're hateful for not fucking yourself.
I appreciate it.
And by the way, to be fair, all of us decided against fucking ourselves. Now, there will be a gay person.
I think it's the gay thing that like gets in the way.
Yeah, and I think there'll be somebody who writes in and says, it's pretty homophobic that you're not willing to fuck yourself for $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get a strongly worded email about my intolerance and hatred, like what happened on YouTube after last week. But that's okay. Engagement's engagement.
Look, I kind of want to ream myself with the whole like. I had this friend who came out as bi, and he's like, "But don't worry, I don't want to fuck you." And I'm like, "What the fuck? You'll fuck anyone, but not me." Like, what's wrong with me? I mean, and so I can imagine someone watching this and being like, like Ted's hoary, but he won't fuck his own. But he's so homophobic, he won't fuck his own clone. Like,
I remember he got to me once. He was
totally
like,
valid.
"Have you ever been with a man?" And I said, "No." He was like, "Would you like to?" Like, not really, no. No, I'm okay.
All right, F you so. Hayden Panettiere of, I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, of Heroes, dead at the age of 32, child star trauma, suspicious death, yay or nay?
Wait, what killed her? Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Well, they're not saying, they're doing the weasel words that the media does now. No sign of foul play, found dead. I mean, that means one of two things, OD or suicide.
Save the cheerleader, save the world. We're fucked.
Did you ever watch
Heroes?
Never.
Heroes was good for the first 2 seasons.
Really?
And it started with this like, save the cheerleader, save the world. People are like, what does that mean? What does that mean? It was her. She was the cheerleader.
Huh. I know nothing.
Wow.
Okay. $2 question from Sir Bikes a Lot. Question for you, Jamarl. Did you watch that Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode of traveling back in time to 65 million years ago? Are you aware of a similar story from UFOs about the history of our solar system?
I mean, it is very hard to... This is why I always think
I've seen that episode.
What is the group, the religious group that believes in souls being split out, put into volcanoes, blown up?
Is that the Scientologists?
Scientologists, right. Uh-huh. That's why it's always wild to me when they're like 7 trillion years ago. It's like, who is with a straight face telling me what happened 7 trillion years ago?
No one knows. Yeah. I mean,
So
I've always
I
said this, like there could have been,
zero.
space travel and manned flight 100,000 years ago, and we would not know that.
Right. Time is irrelevant. It's immaterial, right?
Well, you can't find and nothing survives that long. You just wouldn't be able
anybody
to
really
figure it
know
out.
what time it is, right? Like you
I mean,
could have had a civilization that grew up on Earth, a million years ago. We would never know. We would never
Honestly,
know,
no.
right? The fossil record would be lost. All the shit would be lost. It would be buried under
Everything.
God knows how much Earth. I did not see that particular episode because I haven't watched Strange New Worlds. Star Trek has burned me for the last for a while now, and I've been very pissed off at quote new Trek. There are UFO stories about basically UFOs and spacemen being here as iterations of humanity. Basically, like there are multiple iterations of humanity. We're at the, like the sixth or seventh extinction.
That's kind of the Battlestar Galactica reboot final episode theory.
A little bit, yeah. It's always by the way, that has a religious connotation to it, a heavy religious connotation to it. Pilgrims being guided. If you notice, there's in the original Battlestar Galactica scene, the devil was in that. But the devil's power was to convince, it wasn't necessarily the force. He ends up killing somebody, but he ends up getting taken away by space gods after the fact. But yeah, there's in UFO lore, there is this ancient alien thing that people talk about, but it's kind of hard to talk about. I mean, you can remote view that stuff, but there's nothing to solidify the remote viewing, so it's not really remote viewing. There's no way to go with it. But yeah, in UFO lore, yes.
Me personally, I prefer Stargate SG-1 over Star Trek. I just
Stargate
think
is good.
it's just a more compelling story, in my opinion.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Stargate, I loved Stargate. No bullshit. Even Stargate Atlantis. I love Stargate.
I never saw Stargate Atlantis when
Atlantis was good. You'd like it.
When Colonel O'Neill after when no
I loved him.
when
The guy.
he made the show. I mean, no, whenever he got promoted to general and then he off the show, like
I hated that.
I never watched season 10. It was like season 9 is the last one. It's done.
Season 10 was good, but I agree with you. What's his name couldn't carry the burden. O'Neill was too much of him and Daniel Jackson in a relationship that, it's wild. Like characters on a show, when they've been on the show for a while, it's almost like they develop a relationship between the characters themselves.
Yeah.
Daniel and Jack is an amazing relationship between two people with very different ideologies that somehow meld them, where each becomes a little bit of the other. Oh, and when Daniel ascended, I was on the floor. You could have bought me for $1. Like, it's good. Earth, I agree with you that it's a compelling story because it's Earth basically becoming that starfaring civilization in the cosmos.
By accident. Which is awesome.
But it may always be by accident. A lot of stuff is by accident. Radiation was by accident. Like, that's not a negative per se.
No, that's a catalyst of human history. It's just it's the human. Humanity has two really big impulses that they kind of play into it. One is that there's this innate drive that a lot of people have when they look over the horizon. So what's over there?
Frontier. Yes.
That's a part of the human condition. The other thing is that just because you try something and you get an unexpected result does not mean that result is in and of itself a failure. And for me, what made Colonel O'Neill such a great character was that he lived. Like, he lost his son. His son shot himself with his gun. His family fell apart. He lost his wife. In the movie, I mean, he was basically suicidal. They were sending him on a suicide mission. And then when the actual show picks up, he's still carrying that burden. Yeah. And then in season 3, I don't remember the name of the episode, but they're caught in that time loop. And this guy, he's trying to go back in time to be with his wife before his wife dies. And
I remember that one.
Yeah, and then the entire episode was just hilarious because they're reliving the same day over and over and over again for like 6 months. But when they finally pegged this archaeologist, he said, "Listen, the most difficult thing I ever saw was my son dying. Would you be willing to watch your wife die again?" That is what Star Trek never got. And that's what...
Wait. Star Trek did get that.
I don't think so.
Benjamin Sisko's wife died. The relationship with his son was stronger because of what they went through. They were
trauma bonded.
No, they were trauma bonded.
Well, keep in mind, I'm talking about Star Trek. I'm talking about like James T. Kirk or Picard. Like they
You're talking about original series.
I'm talking about Star Trek. Yeah, I'm not
Star Trek Deep Space Nine is still Star Trek.
No, I know.
It's still Star Trek. And by the way, Picard was damaged by the Borg taking him. I mean, even though they didn't necessarily do episodes like sequential in that way, Picard was damaged from that point on. Even in the movies where he was like flipping out about the black woman at the commons ass down. He was losing his shit. And he called Worf a coward. Worf nearly killed him on the spot. He was flipping the fuck out because he was damaged. Like, I mean, Star Trek does do damage. Riker and his daughter and the son that, or the kid that they had with Deanna Troi died.
I never got that far into it.
Yeah, and to be fair, that was on Picard, on the season 3 of Picard where they threw all the stops out. Season 3 of Picard was actually quite good.
Yeah, I never saw Picard because basically I'm kind of like I pulled the JT card. Like after I watched a couple of the movies, it's like these things suck so much. It's just it's going to ruin the entire franchise for me. So I just chose not to. Watch.
The Star Trek movies.
Yeah, it's just
that's a terrible place to start. That's the problem with the movies. Garbage. The movies are just really, for the most part, not good.
Fans.
And yeah,
well, it depends on which movies.
Yeah,
like I thought the one with the bald woman. I thought was
Khan is good.
The search for Spock. The search for Spock is the last one that I watched because honestly, an unpopular opinion, they should have left Spock dead because the sacrifice. Well, because I mean because that's his most human moment, right?
That is blasphemy.
Well, blasphemy or not, that's where it should have ended. He should not have been brought back. He should not have went to the next generation. He should have been an ambassador.
Robbie, I think you've heard me more.
I see Robbie's point, but I see JT's point.
I do see Robbie's point.
It was fan service.
From a purely impact standpoint, leaving Spock dead is the correct choice.
Correct.
Because he made a choice. He chose to sacrifice his life for his friends.
But the Star Trek ethos is such optimism that you never say die, even when death has occurred.
Even when they're dead. I never claim it. By the way, this happened again, another show where it's funny though, we got to get back to the questions. I'm sorry about this. O'Neill, God man, Deep Stargate SG-1 was really good. And the relationship between the characters just made that work. O'Neill and his love for what's her name, Samantha, but he could never necessarily express it, and so he sexually harassed her in one of the episodes where he was in a time loop, and he just came back, kissed her one day.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Because they're caught in that time loop, and they're trying to learn the language of the ancients, and every day, because time is rebooting, everyone forgot. Well, because they're going through it the first time, but Tilk and O'Neill remembered everything. So they went in and started quoting the language of the ancients and stuff. Like they're correcting Jackson on his translations. He was riding the bicycle. He kissed Samantha like right there in front of the general, coming wearing his skivvies. Like what's going on? Because
is that sexual harassment?
Well, she obviously liked it. I don't think she was being harassed. I think that there's just like, hey, here we are. No, harassment is whenever something happens that you don't want. But it's kind of like that episode it's kind of like that episode with the Tok'ra, because when they were doing that programming, and there was a trigger that would make the person self-destruct, and so one of the ways they would do Zatok training, you may remember that one, and so you had to tell the complete truth, and that's how the machine worked. Yeah. Well, they thought that O'Neill was a Zatok.
No, he was lying
because he was holding back, saying, why didn't you leave her when she was on the ship?
He's like, I loved her.
But he couldn't say it because she's a colonel.
So fucking epic. I mean, that's what I mean. Some of these episodes are standout. The torture scene.
Yeah.
With O'Neill being tortured.
Yeah, by Ball.
Ball. Oh, that's so fucking good. Like those episodes were so good. No, I agree with you. Stargate was really good.
I mean, of all of them, that was, in my opinion, that was the best one. Babylon 5 is another excellent one.
I still can't believe you haven't seen BSG.
Never have.
Deep Space Nine is astonishingly good,
and it's got serious religious, a lot of mystical religious shit in it.
I can't find a place to stream it.
Oh,
if there's a place to stream it, I'll watch it. Listen,
do you have a DVD player?
I do have a DVD player.
All right. Well, when I see you next, I'll bring you my DVDs.
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica is hardcore. That's how it really is.
By the way, this is why
Like-
people should still own physical media, because there's a lot of stuff that's really not available on streaming.
Yeah. Well, Battlestar Galactica is. I have it on Amazon. I have the entire season. When I was traveling, I didn't have TV because it was. in different
It's
language.
on Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
but you
Isn't
probably
it-
have to pay per episode, like $1.99
True.
or whatever.
I just bought the
Yes.
entire seasons.
That's
Well, hell,
good.
that's I'm at risk of getting banned. I have no problem at all doing screen captures, so that way I will pay $1.99 per episode just to have it forever.
Yeah.
Take that as you will.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything that you just said there.
Good man.
The line broke up. I was driving through a tunnel.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what we got. We got to get some. We need some comments here.
Mablue Funk wants to know: would you be bored having sex with someone who knows everything? Who you know everything about?
I would love to have sex with somebody who knows and understands me.
Yeah.
Wait, that you know everything about them, or that they know everything about
Would
you,
you
or
be
both?
Would you be bored having sex with someone who know everything about?
That I
No.
know everything about.
No, of course not.
I've been married to my wife for it'll be 20 years on the 14th. We know everything about October 14th. We know everything there is to know about each other.
Yeah, that's not
I
negative.
kind of agree with. I think I generally agree with the conventional wisdom that, look, Freud said that like distance was important. That's why incest is bad, and that you have to traverse a psychological distance in order to have initial attraction. And I think that's probably true. But over time, I also agree with the mainstream, belief that the longer you know someone, the better the sex get. You get bonded more. You find out new things about them. First of all, it's not possible really to find out everything, but I don't think that would be boring. I mean, I don't think like most people keep having sex with someone in order to find out more about them.
So she clarified. So it was in regards to the question about having sex with your twin, because but a twin doesn't necessarily know what you know. They just genetically are the same. But I mean,
Right.
This life experience, its experiences, its knowledge should be completely different from yours.
Sure.
Deanna Troy. Okay, Deanna Troy. Betazoid. She can read minds.
Mhm.
Would that be a negative or positive? I mean, that's basically what the question is asking. If a person knows everything about you, I agree with you. I don't think it's possible to know everything about somebody, but especially not what's in their mind constantly per se. But if
I think
you
it could get pretty irritating to have someone like Deanna Troy read your mind all the time. I
don't know how that works in practice. Like, I don't want my mind to be read all the time. Like, put it this way: if you ask me how do I look in this dress, I am never going to tell you look fat in the dress. I don't want you to read my mind.
You know what it
Right?
is? No, I'll say it would depend on the mind reader, right? If this is a betazoid who is cool and doesn't abuse this knowledge and doesn't say like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you think that." Like if she just sort of knows to shut up, Buttercup, when she knows I have stupid or gross or annoying thoughts, then it's okay. It's kind of like, I mean, in general, it's like I always tell people like, oh, if you want your partner, your kid, whatever, to tell you the truth, then you have to be cool.
Right.
And like, if you're not
Otherwise, they're not
cool,
gonna
you
take
don't
it.
deserve to be told the truth. Right.
Right.
So
Agreed.
yeah.
1000% agree. She works for humans. I'm assuming she's relatively cool about that stuff. I know.
Wasn't she was
Wasn't she? She was the ship's counselor.
Yeah.
So she's a therapist. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a half breed though, wasn't she? Like she wasn't always on.
A half breed. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. She was.
She was. Yeah. She was of mixed race.
Yes. I'd call her a half breed. Yeah. She was a half breed.
Listen,
My
that's
mom used to call me a half breed, and I was like, I couldn't believe it because she was French. I'm like, you're calling me a half breed because she's French and my dad was Germanic.
Oh, Germanic.
Well, French or Germanic.
I know. Yeah. What the word France? Where do you think it comes from? Right.
Yeah, it's funny because my kids call themselves half breeds. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's bad. What's next? Quadroon and octoroon?
Race is the biggest joke in my family. Like, honestly,
I get
really
that. It would be.
It's a blast.
I would have inside jokes too. I would agree.
Oh, it's hilarious. But but we'll crack jokes like that. And people are like, "Oh my God!" They'll start clutching their pearls, and then me and Kizzy and the kids just start laughing. It's like y'all are so easy.
It's funny. I was the opposite. My ex-girlfriend, like she used to be seemingly fascinated by the racial dynamic, and to me, I could care less. Like she would focus on it. Like for her, it was like,
Yeah, it really depends. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No,
It's
I had a girlfriend who was black and she was obsessed with this whole idea. To me, she was just my girlfriend, but
right.
to her, she was like she wanted like race play to be part of sex and the whole thing.
She did too.
And I was like,
Specifically, the Captain Kirk, Lieutenant Uhura scene
oh my.
in reverse. She even when she put on that dress, no words, just no words. It just worked. And she's like, I have your Star Trek uniform too. Like, what? I'm supposed to be in this? What are you talking about? No, I was very dodgy about the race thing. I never liked to bring it up because to me it was insignificant. It didn't matter. Like I wasn't with you because of your race.
Yeah, it's not really interesting, right? I mean,
yeah, I just wasn't interested in it.
I mean, even if you like date someone, I mean, let's just say their looks are remarkable, right? Like I've dated, a couple of models, right? And like, it's like, okay, they're pretty. It's like, but that you stop caring about that really quickly. Yep. She's just her after a while.
Yeah, but here's the part that y'all are both missing is that here in Montana, the demographics about like it was in 1940. It's like 98% white. Mm-hmm. And so, so the census here in Flayette County, there's 3 black people in the entire county.
And you know who they are.
All 3 of them are my family. It's my wife and my 2 kids.
That's like that. That is like the voting district that my mom and I used to live in, and like when they would post the local voting results in the election on the church door, and it's like there'd be 2 Democrats, and we knew who they were.
Yeah, I mean, It's just so for us, I mean, we just grew up, and it's just always a part of it because you've got we go to a school function, you go to church, it's me, your default whitey. And then I've got Kizzy and the 2 kids, and it's just like, oh, where are you from? Or how long are you visiting? So, no, we're not visiting. We live here.
It's like this is my wife.
This is my wife. This is Kizzy. These are my kids, and then they just always get involved. Courtney, she has a beautiful singing voice. She's always singing. My son Thomas, he works with me. He just always volunteer for stuff But I mean, you're always the outsider. You're always the different. Like even on the Indian reservation, the Indians don't like it at all.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, you're even more. You're even more of an albatross than I am. So it's just like,
what do you mean? My part Cherokee.
No, I'm talking about like on the Indian reservation. Try to go down and go to an event like the Salish Indians. There is like, you can just go right on back over across the border. You don't belong here.
Wow. I'd be like, dude,
it's always strange. I mean, these things are so stupid to me.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's so.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm going for is that's why race became such a joke in our family. It's just, well, funny, it's retarded. And I know I'm gonna get in trouble for using the R word, yet here we are. And
we've never used it before.
We're all different. And there's no point pretending that you're not. So if you just accept the fact that you're different, then no one can ever use that as a way to hurt you.
Yeah, it just kind of is what it is. Especially if you've grown up with it, that your wife, you guys have been together for a while, the kids grown up in it. Yeah, I would imagine you guys have all sorts of installation.
Oh, it's wild. That's the damnest thing. Like, our first Lee Jackson Day, we're putting up a Confederate battle flag in front of the house, and our neighbors like, "Is that a rebel flag?" I said, "Yeah, it's a Confederate battle flag." And he looked at my wife and said,
"By the way,
but you're black." And
where is your neighbor from that he doesn't know that flag?
He's a Montanan.
Yeah. I mean, look, that flag doesn't fly anywhere in the New York tri-state area. But let me just say that, nevertheless, I know what it looks like immediately,
Well, no, the thing that broke his brain is that me and a black woman were putting this flag up. And just like, "But you're black." And she's like, and she just looked at her hands like, "Oh, well, by damn, I am. I never noticed."
Holy shit.
Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the white knight thing, right? It's
oh yeah, it's just like,
well, I mean, the New York Times years ago, probably 20 years ago, had a piece about how the black experience in Montana as the whitest state in the union. And they talked about how people they interviewed said, it's actually not so bad being black here because there are so few black people. There isn't sort of a systemic, slur system for racism. It's kind of like we're so rare they don't think about us much. Would you say that's accurate?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you're a curiosity, but there's none of the stereotypes. Like, for example, if you're walking down the streets in Mobile or Pensacola or maybe even Richmond, if you see 5 or 6 black people walking towards you, I mean, the default reaction could be, okay, is what's going to happen? Is this going to end in violence?
In Richmond, you're out of your mind. Richmond is mainly black.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, if I as a white guy, I'm walking down the road, like 5 or 6 black dudes start walking towards me, it's like, okay, how's this going to happen? How's this going to play out?
I got to be honest with you, Robbie. I feel that way about whites also.
I believe
if I see 5 white guys walking towards me, I'm probably going to go across the street.
Yeah, I mean that's my point. I mean,
certain white people I feel that way about too.
Thing, though. Yeah. That's not a race thing.
No, sure. I mean, but that's what I'm talking about. It's a cultural thing, right? And it's just Atlanta's that way.
If you're in Montana and you see 5 or 6 guys walking towards you, regardless of their race,
yeah,
you don't get apprehensive.
Not in town. Why would I?
Because they're a threat. I don't know who the fuck they are, and they're walking.
Everyone here's got guns. It's not a threat. I mean, for example, here in Kalispell, so say for example, if you're on Main Street, Ted, you've been here, so JT, I'll try to explain it. So Main Street, it's a 2-lane road. Mm-hmm. You have shops on either side. The population in the summertime with all the tourists is around 50 or 60,000. In the wintertime drops down to about 5 because that's just how it works. So people walking up and down the street, there's nowhere else for you to be. So I mean, there isn't that threat. It's just how it is. And also, I think a big part of it also comes in is people probably feel safer in small towns because of reputations of small towns typically is that they're safer. Whereas a reputation in a big city, like say Detroit, probably less so. So that all kind of plays into it. People come here to Kalispell for the first time.
And it depends what part of town you're in. Like in Detroit, if you're downtown in a shopping district, you might be looking around, but you're not like, you shouldn't really be worried. Nothing's going to happen. But if you were in a more desolate area, in a poorer area, you're going to be more aware.
Yeah. I think it's location. Agreed. Like when you're in DC has areas that are treacherous. Like when my ex-girlfriend was here, I would be like, look, don't leave the house. If you are in Maine, DC, okay, no issue, but don't, like, basically I was worried about her safety just because, if I'm being honest, I think she was going to be a little bit naive in dealing with America in general, right? Yep. But she's in Georgetown. I don't really care.
Oh yeah, no, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, although, man, I had a boss who she was a student at Georgetown University. Yeah, this was years before I worked for her, and some dude, I think it was a white dude, broke into her apartment through the window, raped her, and threw out the fucking window from the 3rd or 4th floor.
What?
She was lucky to have survived.
What? Did they catch the guy who did it?
No.
That's nothing out there.
Another thing I think about, like, for example, Fayette County is about the size of Massachusetts, of the entire state. The county's huge. And
it's a county.
Yeah, so, but the county has 12 sheriffs, 12 sheriff's deputies in the entire county. That's all that's here. Mm-hmm. And so so people understand that you are the first responder. And if there is a problem, then you're expected to take care of the problem. Mm-hmm. And so I think that just kind of plays into the culture. Is just that you just treat people with respect. You're nice to them. You don't be a jerk. Don't honk at people at intersections. This isn't New York. Don't be that way. It's
hard to refrain. Although I will say, I didn't really have people when the light turns green in Kalispell, they go. I can't say that's always true. Here in New York, it's like I'll give people a little. There's the little toot that like. Hey, I know you're on your phone. The light's green.
Oh, Ted, you'll be pleased to know that the traffic light in front of the Walmart has a turn signal now.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. No, that's seriously.
So it's small things like that. So, yeah. I mean, I guess that's part of the reason why, when it comes with me and Kizzy and just growing up here in Kalispell, it's not been a problem. The only time it was ever really an issue was up in Whitefish. It's the more affluent. It's the People's Republic of Whitefish is how it's called by the natives. And we were campaigning for a friend of ours who's running as a Republican for the county seat. And this tourist from California came up and looked at me and Kizzy and said, "Oh, what are you, the token?"
What?
So I
Wait,
mean, you
who
don't.
was the token? Because it was just you and her. So which one was the token? You were
Because she was holding up a sign saying, "Vote for this Republican."
Oh, I see.
And so this Californian came up and she dropped the hard R. We're on YouTube, so I'm not going to say the word. We get demonetized. But what are you, the token blank? And it was just this is a good, tolerant liberal, like all white liberals are. You know,
Was it all white liberals are good and tolerant?
yeah. Don't you realize that these people are victimizing you? Whereas we're living here, it's just like, lady, no one's victimizing us. We're safer here than what we were in Pensacola. So why don't you take your carpet bag and yourself back to San Francisco?
See, therein lies the problem with liberals. Like, as opposed to just kind of assuming that this black woman had agency. Her first thought is, well, she's obviously being forced to do this.
Yeah. So
totally. It's the white knight thing. I mean, I've been accused of, especially when Obama was president, of being a racist political cartoonist, right? And doing cartoons about the president because, he's black. You're making fun of him. I never drew anyone as handsomely as I drew Obama. All my characters are ugly. But who never accused me of that? A black person. Yeah.
That shit's aggravating. I've worked with somebody who was the classic white liberal. And I got into an argument with him on, I think it was healthcare or something like that. And he proceeds to explain to me as a black person how and why black people use the medical profession in the way that they do. This didn't go over well. In fact, this went on air and spilled over air where I kind of pointed out that basically you are the classic white liberal. And he proceeded to do the classic white liberal thing on air where the audience was pointing out he is doing the classic white liberal thing on air. He felt some kind of way about that shit. And I was like, dude, like, this is you did this, like, meaning this was your case, this was your argument, and you proceeded to do exactly this. Yeah, he got called off of this shit on air.
Good.
Yeah, good. I mean, it blows my mind. So their point of view is, well, Kizzy obviously is not in control of this. She's being forced to carry the sign. It's like, why do you think that? Why are you assuming that?
Yeah, so basically, this wonderful liberal was accusing me basically of being her master.
Yes,
like she's an enslaved woman who did not choose to marry me, did not choose to have kids with me, and did not choose to go and participate in this political campaign.
It's like, let the boy watch.
Very strange.
Yeah, this is oh God, what is the thing called? He said, "I am your master." Break his arm. It's a Will Ferrell thing. It's shit's fucking hilarious.
Wait! I've seen all Will Ferrell. You got to tell me.
Okay, so on Eastbound and Down, Will Ferrell plays a guy that's kind of like Ric Flair, and he is extraordinarily racist, show. like deeply racist, right? And it is the funniest shit in the world that Will Ferrell's playing this character. And there were a bunch of black guys that were about to beat up the gang. He said, "Break his arm, I'm your master." And the black guys look at him, what the fuck? He says, "Break his arm." He says, what did he say? Lesser than. He started screaming at him, in which case they saw it.
I can really imagine that Will Ferrell with those eyes. Oh my God.
It is the funniest thing in the world. He says, "I'm Old South, I'm Old South." In which case I think they beat his ass. This is the funniest shit in the world. That's the one where Will Ferrell is like, "Let the boy watch," where he's like, "My son," he says, "my wife Donna and I were making hot love with the heat turned up to 80 because we like it hot and sweaty." And he says, my son comes to the door, and he says Donna was like saying no, and I was like, no. He said he was pressing into her in a way that hurt because she doesn't like it or some shit he said. But when the kid comes to the door, he's like, Donna's like, "Oh my God, stop." And he's like, "Let the boy watch." He says, "Let the boy learn the way I learned, the way my grandfather learned and his grandfather learned." Oh, Will Ferrell, man.
There's that I mean, I gotta say, good humor is usually dangerous and transgressive. I mean, there's a comic strip called Rehabilitating Mr. Wiggles by a guy named Neil Schwab. I'm sure it's long gone, but it ran in alt weeklies, and it had crazy shit in it. And I remember there's one that I've never gotten out of my mind, and it's like a nude older dude with his rocking out with his cock out erect, chasing a little boy, and the father goes through like a shitty house, and the old gross pervert goes, "Come here and take your punishment like a man." And you're like, what?
There's no way they can get away with that shit today.
No, it's
No
true.
way.
I mean, well, that's how we seriously. Yeah, we know we have decline, right? Because 49% of all college graduates are living at home.
Right.
We know we have decline because nobody can buy a new house. We know we have decline, because the president uses words like, "I'm going to bomb the shit out of Oman," nothing happens. But what really signals decline to me is that it's harder to go there in terms of humor than it used to be. And that's fucked up. Humor should constantly be more transgressive, more open as time progresses. And that's not what we have.
Yeah, that shit's funny. That should be enough.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, what is the story is not rah-rah pedophiles. The story is just meant to be funny.
Yeah. It just goes there. And
yeah. That's hilarious. Take your punishment. That's so funny.
Come here and take your punishment like a man. Because it
operates on draw that, right? Like,
so many, and the guy, the dude's all hairy. You see all the little ink dots for his hairs. It's like it's so grotesque, and it operates on so many levels. I mean, like it's sort of like I don't even remember what the fuck I did, but I was up to no good, and my friend and I were running away from some dude in our neighborhood between the lines. He's like, "Come back here," and I remember just thinking, why are you wasting your breath? What makes you think, has anyone in the history of "come back here" ever been like, have they ever stopped and gone back ever?
Yeah. Well, I stopped because you told me to come back.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Since you requested, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
Oh
God, fun. Man, the shit that people think up.
Well, I mean, it's just weird. Like, for example, one time I almost got to a fist fight with Kizzy's brother after our daughter was born, because she when she was pregnant, we decided that she was going to breastfeed. We decided. I did not decide for her. We decided she was going to breastfeed.
Well, that's the norm now, anyway.
And so we got together for Christmas, and so our daughter Courtney was hungry. She's like, I don't know, like a week old at the time. I said, "Kizzy," I said, "I think she's ready to go eat now." And he just went off on me. He's just like, "How dare you? You should let her go get some formula. If you can't afford to get formula, I'll go buy you some." He called me a cracker and everything else.
Wait, why was he so hopped up on formula?
Because he was saying strong
Does he
black
work for
women.
Nestle?
No, he was just saying strong black women don't do this. And I was trying to impress her.
Wait. I'm lost. Don't do what?
He was saying that strong black women do not breastfeed. That is what the man said to me verbatim. I took him out into the yard.
Is there a racial disparity in breastfeeding? I don't know the answer.
There is. Yeah, we researched it.
Really?
Yeah, there is. What it is now, in the 2020s, I don't know, but 18 years ago.
Because for whites, it's certainly completely like normal.
Yeah, for sure. Like the reason I bring this up is that at the church we go to, is that we actually have a room where mothers are able to go and go and breastfeed.
Yeah, in my church, even in the 70s, we had that.
But yeah, I told him, I said, if you don't leave my house, I'm going to whip your black ass like right now.
I got to be honest. I don't know.
He went crazy. He went nuts.
I got to be honest. I've never heard that.
He went crazy.
As an African American, I've never heard this argument that black women must feed their kid formula. Who the fuck made that up?
That's why he says, if you can't afford formula, I'll go get you some. You don't get to make my sister do this. He went off.
Wow.
Did Kizzy want to do formula?
No, because breastfeeding is the best thing that you can do for a kid. The studies show that IQ is typically better, and that they're able to, that the baby gets a stronger immune system.
No, I accept that. I think that's true. I guess what I'm asking though is whether that's true is secondary to whether or not she wanted to do formula.
Yeah, she wanted to.
So she did want to do formula.
No, she wanted to breastfeed.
Oh, she wanted to breastfeed. Yeah,
Yeah.
he could go fuck himself. Like, I don't
Agreed.
know what he's talking about in this idea
He
that
went
all Black
crazy.
women require.
And he just did that. He didn't like ask first, like, "Hey, wait a minute. So you guys
It's just out the
breastfeed?"
blue.
Yeah.
There was
But
no
because-
conversation like that.
Yeah, because of her mother. Her mother wasn't a fan of it, and she's now you should use formula. It's more convenient because his sister is the same thing.
Well, this throws
And-
me back. My mom came
It was
here.
nuts.
So I was born in 1963, right? And my mom was French, and she breastfed me. Now, at the time,
Right.
it really wasn't. It was common in France, but it wasn't common there. And somehow, my in-laws, who were conservative and from sort of German Americans from Chicago, they took my mom aside and they said, that's what chimpanzees do. And like, you're like a chimpanzee.
Are you
And,
serious? I
but
don't.
it was
I gotta be honest,
1963 though, right? I
I
mean,
fundamentally don't understand this. Human beings are breastfed
forever.
for the expanse of human history.
Yeah,
Human beings are breastfed.
99.99% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, we were stronger back then than we are now. And by the way, I can see this in my own family.
But
Like,
1963, everyone was better living through chemicals, right? I mean, it was Dow Chemical, DuPont, everything. Pam spray on your pans. I mean, I can't believe it's not butter. All that shit, right?
It's just
I-
wild.
I can't
And
believe
we're
it's not
weaker for
cancer.
it.
Oh, it is.
By the way, we're weaker for it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I can look at my family line and I can see how people. My grandfather was an alcoholic, an evil alcoholic. He lived, I don't know, to maybe 90 something years old. But the illnesses that he had at that age, you could see him in his kids at a younger age. You can just see it in the genetic line. My dad, same thing. My dad ended up with renal failure when he was in his 60s. I get it at 17.
Mm.
I think we're making ourselves weaker. And,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, hey, chimpanzees breastfeed. We were apes or we were monkeys.
We
You
are
know?
we are the fourth species of chimpanzee. Yeah.
Yeah, get over it. It's like,
I
what's the
would-
issue? I cannot believe that people take issue with this. By the way, I didn't know this. I didn't know that this was a thing.
Well, see, because I don't know if it's because they're supposed to breastfeeding in general or because I'm a white guy, because they did not like the idea of me being with her in the first place.
Yeah,
that,
maybe they think you're
that was
totally
already
Right.
an
That's
issue.
part
So,
of that's a subtext, right?
so
Yeah.
maybe they just thought that I was just trying to keep her barefoot.
You're a bad
pregnant. Maybe I want
influence.
to have a mammy. It could have been any of those things. Who knows?
I mean, have
So
you
it
guys
could've
seen in the
just-
airports that in some airports, I don't think I saw one in Kalispell, but I could be wrong. There's these like breastfeeding like pods that
Yes.
you pay money for and you go in. And I kind of hate that. I mean, I kind of feel like if you want privacy, you should get it and it's fine for people who want it. But I kind of hate that there's even like
You should have to pay for
a
it.
sense that, well, yeah, I also hate the fact that like it would be something that like people would feel a need to do, that they need privacy for, like taking a shit or something. I mean, it's like you shouldn't need privacy to breastfeed. It should be
Well,
like
it's whipping at the breast, I think, is the issue.
it's the most normal thing in the world. Yeah, I know. I've had the whole. I have a friend who totally. She was like, "Yoop," and I was like, could you go a little slower so I can look away? Right? I mean,
I mean, here.
because like in the Olympics when they fire the starter pistol, if you start before 0.1 seconds, it's considered a false start because people
Right.
can't react that quickly. Right?
I
I
mean,
don't
here.
know, if that was- I mean, I think I might be self-conscious of whipping her breast out. I
Yeah.
don't
You're
think it's a beating heart.
Here on the Indian reservation, it's perfectly normal. I mean, the Indians will pop out their boob and just let the kid latch on. It's
I think it
just
should be perfectly normal anyway. In fact, I go
I agree.
further.
It is
I think
perfectly
women
normal.
should show their breasts in the way that men show their non-breasts.
Absolutely.
I don't get the paternalism thing of women must stay, their breasts are somehow different than-
Periodically, New York, there's been a court ruling in New York State years ago that found that the obscenity laws don't cover female breasts, and
Nor should they.
and therefore they can walk around topless. So sometimes to test it out and push it, they'll take the subway topless and stuff, and then inevitably they get arrested, and then they have to tell the cops, dudes, you better check your legal rulings because you're just wrong, and
Yeah.
then and they keep doing that. But I mean, yeah, no, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I run and bike topless on a hot day. You know, I mean, why shouldn't women be able to do that if they want to?
You need to take a picture.
There's some people in the chat, Ted, who want to see your man boobs.
Right.
Yeah, I know. And listen, we know I'm hoary, but like all whores, I'm not a crack hoe. I'm an escort. You got to pay proper funds. Like a couple vials of crack isn't going to do it. The price is $5,000. I've already said that. When that $5,000 appears on my screen, I will immediately reveal.
Agreed. We need to make that a tier.
Yeah. What about you guys? Would you do it for $5,000?
I do it for less. Dignified, but I'll do it for less.
Robbie?
Hell, I don't care. Listen, someone wants to see him. I mean, why not, right? I mean,
yeah, no, I really can't believe anyone would pay money.
Do not care.
I do not know why anyone. I mean, no one's ever really found my man boobs interesting, but you know.
Well, mine is just scarring. I mean, mine is just scars.
Mm-hmm. The nips are still there.
Yes, ish.
Yeah, have you ever seen? And you've seen like women who like have had double mastectomies where the nips are gone, and it's like it's a little alien. It's a little strange. It's not bad, but it's just like it's sort of like Barbie or something.
It's like they're being mutilated.
It's like you're missing something.
And to be honest, that's the way I felt. Like I was mutilated. I mean,
you were literally.
It's better than what there, but
a part of you was cut off, so you were by definition mutilated. Yeah.
So I have
it was a part that I didn't want.
So I have a question for y'all. Talking about the whole women being topless thing. How would that work? So, like for example, if you're in New York City, to your point, Ted, and you get some Afghan dude who all of his life has only been able to see a woman's eyes, and all of a sudden he just gets a full frontal view, what's going to happen? Like, will that guy be able to control his urges, or do you think that?
Well, if not, that's why God invented prison.
Right.
Right. It's
but to your point, though, I mean, that's part of the problem.
That's what Afghan guys claim. They claim that like that their women have to be covered up because they're so wild and crazy they can't control themselves.
Like they can't control their urges and impulses.
It's like, what are you, a fucking monster?
Wild shit to think about. Well, it's like we're going to put the burden on the women. Because we can't control that.
What are you, a creature? You can't, like, how do you obey your religion? How do you take the time to pray 4 times toward Mecca? Right? I mean, how do you do anything if you can't control your urges?
Well, if you're that regressed, I mean, sure. I mean, like in Corsica, there were issues about the burkini. I'm sure y'all remember that. And people were just, and the migrants going crazy because these French and Italian women are out there in their bikinis, and these migrants just go completely insane. Talk about rape culture. Well, there you go. And so the solution was the burkini. And the Europeans thankfully said, you can take your burkini and shove it up your ass. You can go back to where you came from if that's what you want. So I don't know how you're able to have
There are people go to nudist beaches all over the Western world. I've been to some. Nothing happens. Nobody's raping anybody. Everybody's chill. It's just like, I mean, look, the best story I can possibly tell.
But you have to look at the demographics at the nudist beach. They're probably not a couple hundred dudes straight off the boat from Kabul.
Sure, but I also have enough respect for my fellow human beings, regardless of whether they're from Kandahar or whether they're from Camden, New Jersey, to think that they can fucking control themselves.
But that's you.
Everybody can control themselves. Everybody cannot.
I mean, look, the woman that Ted talked about got raped. She wasn't going tits out. She still got raped. And
I get it.
Obviously, there are situations that are more safe than others. But I tend to believe that people can control themselves under normal circumstances. I mean, I don't look, Robbie, I agree with you that women walking topless, the issue is not the fact that they're topless. The issue is
a safety issue.
It's a safety issue.
The issue is like, are the dudes going to act like pigs?
Right. It's that.
The answer is yes. Because
I think
dudes
many
are pigs.
of them will. I don't think most are.
Well, I mean, okay, at that rate, I mean, why don't we just fucking do this about everything? So should nobody drive a nice car or wear a fancy watch because poor people might like succumb to their Marxist urges for class equity and fucking steal it, kill them and steal it? I mean, this can go on forever and ever, right?
And obviously people are in bikinis, people wear short skirts, people wear very revealing outfits. Like, it's just like,
or like, what if a member of Antifa sees your Stars and Bars flag? I mean, aren't they supposed to control themselves and not like attack you because they take offense at a racist symbol? I mean, it's like people have to control themselves. Well, controlling yourself is the essence of being a human being.
It's just life.
But that's not the human condition. What you're describing is what you think should be. That's not the reality.
This is literally we literally live in a country where we know that the recidivism rate for pedophiles is massive. Nevertheless, we release them and we tell them, like, all right, well, just stay 100 feet away from the schoolyard and the playground and be cool and keep it zipped up, and everything's hopefully won't see you back here. I mean, we expect them to control themselves. I mean, why can't like normal Muslim guys control themselves?
Listen, it's not just Muslim guys. I'm just using that as an extreme example because there's a reason why women in the Middle East wear burqas. It's because that's the culture. So then if that's what you're used to, and then you get airdropped and
get used to something else. I guess is my point.
But how does that work? I mean, you got to probably just kind of wade in. If you just
don't
organize that, you just suggest when in Rome. Robbie, this is the traveling thing. How you said you would gain a lot by traveling. This 100%. Is like you learn that. Like, for example, in countries like in many countries, like in the Muslim world, not to sit next to a woman if there's an empty spot next to a woman on the bus or on the train. You go find another seat or you stand. Okay, because you just don't want to sit next to her.
Why?
Because it's disrespectful and it's considered threatening. Because that's not the culture. You don't do that. All the men sit side by side and the women sit side by side. The end. Or like if you're in a Muslim country, you don't cross your feet such that the bottom of your sole is pointed towards someone else. It's insulting. You just don't. Why not? Just don't do it. That's all. And when you visit the United States in our topless utopia in 2028, after the DSA takes over, it's like, don't be fucking gawking at boobies. That's all. Yeah.
But is that a biological thing? Like, are guys just? If you believe in evolution, do you think that guys are hardwired? Since I think there's only two primates that actually have sex looking at each other. Then the breasts are a sexual organ. Yes, they're used to feed kids, but also that they are designed from an evolutionary standpoint to attract a male mate.
Well, if that's true, culturally, it's in our culture and pornography and everything, right?
But there's a cultural overlay that we all have to fulfill in regards to societal roles. Like, if I'm in another country, I have to follow the rules and the customs of that particular country. Right. And that's vice versa. And we're not organized in our society around random Afghans who are dropped into the country. That's not going to work that way.
We got a bunch of random Afghans who got dropped in Missoula and they ended up raping a college girl a couple of years ago. So it did happen.
Well, I'm not saying. But I agree that, like, we're wired to be, as straight dudes, we're wired to be very interested in the female form and in breasts. And what I'm saying is I respect all my fellow males enough to know that we can all control ourselves and act decently.
I submit to you that not every male on the planet is able to do that.
Well,
they're able?
On the planet.
Able? Yes. Correct. There are some.
They're all able.
Well, then why is the reoffense rate for pedophiles so high? They said they cannot control their urges. Your argument falls apart.
Well, they can. It's just really hard. That's all.
Well, and we're not talking about pedophiles. We're talking about
pedophiles are a little different.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So how is looking at a well-endowed lady? I mean, if that's considered gawking, guilty.
I don't want anybody gawking either. Look, I will tell you this. In Germany, they have saunas. And they're nude saunas in Germany. Yeah. Now, not every country has a nude sauna, but Germany has some kind of weird thing.
We had a nude sauna in the dorm, in my Columbia dorm when I was in the early 80s. Yeah.
That shit is weird to me.
Have either of y'all ever been to India? Like, what was it like there? Because I know that up to like 10 minutes ago, a lot of the Indian, like, being topless there wasn't a stigma.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I've been
Brits
in
Brits tried to put the kibosh on that. Yeah.
Yeah, you told me the sarong came from them to
Mhm.
basically stop showing your tits.
Yeah.
Soldiers
Yeah,
can't deal with it. Our soldiers can't handle it. Look, Robbie, I accept the argument that there are going to be some people who run afoul of this stuff because there are some people who run afoul of it now,
Yeah.
even with
That's
them
what I'm-
without them showing their breasts.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
saying. Like, Ted's saying that everybody can do this. Everybody cannot do this. Everyone does not have
Well,
that,
I think
have that
Ted's
level
point
of
is everybody can
self-control.
control themselves. Whether they do or not is secondary to the point. And I think your point is, well, if they can control themselves, then why did they rape X or Y?
Mhm.
I mean, look,
Because
there's
they
gonna be a
want because they
certain amount of
want to.
Right.
I mean-
There's going to be a certain amount of rape in society. Okay, let's take that as a fact, right?
Mhm.
Whether a woman shows a breast or not. This conversation feels very pervy. Just women having it. By the way.
Yeah, it's time to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Well, think about this, for example. No, Donald Trump right now is trying to rape the nation of Iran. So he is acting on an
He can
impulse.
control himself. He's just
Yeah.
choosing not to.
No, he's acting on an impulse, so he wants to go through and do this. And I guess it's just a matter of scale, right? Some people
Well, yes,
are going to try and dominate someone else. And nations work the same way because all a nation is a conglomeration of a people, in which case, I mean you see,
I know, but the entire point of law is to prevent people from going afoul of their excesses.
Yeah.
That's the entire
That's the whole
point.
point.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the point that I'm making is in any society, you're going to have a certain amount of rape. And I think our argument is basically, well, this is women's liberation. Why on earth should this paternalist shit be allowed? It is a safety issue, I agree, but still, they should not be limited in that way. And this is not me saying it just as a guy. I mean, like I said, when I was in the sauna, I was so embarrassed. I didn't even want to put my head up. I was kind of like, oh my God. Everybody is naked. Everybody's showing their balls.
Yes,
It was
they are.
weird to me.
Yes, they
And
are.
by the way, there was a guy, there was this German guy who I thought was the greatest man on earth. He was maybe 300 pounds, give or take, maybe 350, nude as the day is long, and just walking like he's like it's nothing. He's just like ball swinging.
Yep.
Dick
Does
on
not
everywhere.
care.
Doesn't care. He stops at the bar, gets something to drink. He's just flailing.
He doesn't need to care. I mean, body shame is fucking horrible. We need to like ditch that shit.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
Anyway,
I guess the point
hear
that I'm
you.
trying to say is that what should be and what actually is are two very different things.
agreed.
I
Agreed.
accept that. Yeah, I accept that.
Now,
Do we have more comment?
now, do y'all think that I should watch what is it the Star Trek with the spaceship? What was it called?
Battlestar Galactica, if you're going to watch anything.
Yeah.
No, the one with Cisco. What the hell is that Star Trek
Deep,
called?
Deep Space Nine.
Deep
So
Space
should I watch
Nine
that?
is fantastic. And by the way, the first episode, what you're going to notice is Cisco meets Picard.
Okay.
If you notice in the Star Trek episodes, there's always a handoff. So Cisco meets Picard, Quark meets, I forget the people on Voyager, etc. But that
Yeah.
particular meeting was one of the best that was ever done. Cisco comes in, meets Picard, who he hates him with a burning passion.
Because he killed his wife.
Exactly, as Locutus.
Have
Picard
you-
comes in this ashamed. In the beginning, he doesn't know that Cisco and what happened with Cisco. Cisco is just pissed off. And when Cisco reveals basically that I was on this particular ship that the Borg blew up as your Locutus, the level of shame that overcomes Picard is astonishing. It's so good. It's so well acted. Even the music changes. Where when he walks in, it's Deep Space Nine. Then when Picard is Star Trek Next Generation, and then when they meet, there's a blending between the two. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so
the
good.
thing is, I mean, I think you can definitely enjoy Deep Space Nine without having seen Next Generation.
True.
But it would be better if you'd seen Next Generation.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's good. You'd like it, Robbie. At least I think you will, especially with the build up to the war.
I mean, I would say if you wanted to watch Next Generation, I should warn you, the first season's a little choppy. Things really get going in the second
I know
season.
a lot of people say that. I ended up liking the first season.
It's all worth seeing, but the second season's where things really, it finds its stride.
I've watched a few episodes of it. The first season, especially when Q was putting humanity on trials, it's like, dude,
Yes.
first, who the hell are you?
What did you think about that, by the way? When Q put humanity on trial, Picard representing all of humanity. I was floored by that episode, by the way.
Because
Like,
the
these
Q,
are your failings. These are your faults. Look at the things that you've done as a society, and now you're trying to take yourself out into space. Why should you be allowed to do this?
John Doe, Ted, he wants to know how many push-ups you can do. Now, to answer your question, I think that if I was going to have a
I
god,
don't know. I have to see.
my god, if would not be Q, because Q is just way too satanic.
Q never said he was a god.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, that's the way he put
Yes,
himself.
godlike characteristics.
I'm going
though.
to judge you, and if you go through, because I like Q, he's probably my favorite character in the whole. And for what I saw, he's just the biggest dick.
He's a total dick.
Or is he though?
We
don't know.
He becomes not a dick later.
He becomes not a dick, and
Well,
I don't know if he was ever a dick. Like,
he was.
for example,
I think where he had his come to Jesus moment. Remember when his immortality was stripped by the other Chewie
That's true.
things, what the hell is it they're called?
The continuum.
And then all the aliens that he was tormenting, like these look like these little
came back to get his ass.
like just started torturing them.
Right.
It was just like for the first time ever, you're having to pay a consequence for what you've done. And I think that's where Q learned his humanity.
But I don't know if what we're seeing of Q is really what is happening in earnest. I don't know that. Like, meaning Q is putting on an act. He said in the beginning, the trial never stops.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that he was effectively doing was almost like a lab person fucking with a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's giving different stimuli to see what happens. What does humanity do? What is humanity? We have no idea what Q is. And then in the latter episode, saves Picard. Okay, why is this godlike entity giving a shit about Picard? It seems like there was something else going on in regards to Q and his relationship to humanity. Even in the Borg episode,
I think
humanity wasn't supposed to deal with the Borg, not for fucking decades. Q exposes humanity to it to let humanity see what's effectively out there. Okay, was it a worse scenario or was it better for humanity to know? It was better to know.
That was better to know, but the reason why I think the reason why Q became I'm going to use the word friend, and that might be too strong of a word, to Picard, is because when when his immortality was taken from him and he was being tortured, Picard is the one person that stood up for him and defended him.
But how do we know that that's not an experiment by the continuum? How do we know? Like, meaning we don't know Q, and we can't even conceive of the continuum, meaning what they exist in. And you all of a sudden have something putting humanity on trial, saying the trial never stops, and continuously intrudes in the interplay of humanity. In fact, you realize if it wasn't for humanity meeting the Borg and getting ships and everything else ready and prepared for the Borg, we might have lost the war, or they might have lost the war to the Dominion. Many of the ship designs, the Defiant specifically, was set up for the Borg, not the Dominion. All of those things ended up being used in lieu to fight the Dominion. Q is not bound by time, so we don't necessarily know the relation. Like, meaning we don't know how he's engaging us and why he's engaging us in that way. We see him in certain intersections, but the overall story we don't know.
And that's why I think that Stargate SG-1 is the better show.
But that makes Star Trek awesome. Most of life is not explained, and most of the things that we encounter, hell, even reality itself, we take familiarity for granted. Meaning we take this as familiar and as if we know what this is. We have no fucking clue. Most of things are unknown to us as human beings. It just is. Yeah. Star Trek presents a reality where we don't know everything, where many things are in this frontier and in the unknown domain. I don't know. I like
me and you, we gotta have a talk about this. Just maybe on your show just one day, because
all right, guys.
Whatever, Ted.
All right, I'm going. I'm going.
What time is it? We're past.
It's 1:34.
Oh yeah, we're way past.
I'm sorry.
I got shit to do.
Yeah,
guys, I'm calling it a show.
I'm sorry.
I'm calling it. All right.
Ted's like, I'm done.
Bye, guys.
The fifth race. The episode of the fifth race, JT. That's the best one. The fifth race. The fifth race.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye, y'all.